Okay, I'll declare the meeting open at 12:31. Murray and Karen, can you see and hear us? Yes? Yes, Murray, yes. Good, thank you. All right, shall we stand for the affirmation? We recognise the traditional owners of the land. We are inspired by the early pioneers and by those who gave their lives for our country. We now ask God's blessing on our deliberations and on our commitment to build a better lifestyle and environment. Please be seated. This council meeting is being recorded and live streamed to council's YouTube channel. The recording will also be made available on council's website. Whilst all care has been taken to ensure that your privacy is maintained, please be aware that your presence may be recorded. Do I have any apologies?
Yes, Mr Mayor. Councillor Lauren Dempsey is an apology today.
Thank you, Councillor. No others? I'll put that to the vote. Oh, sorry. Can I and a seconder? You go.
Happy to second, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. All in favour? Carried. Are there any disclosures of a conflict of interest? None. Consideration of reports of officers. Yeah, that's it. So, all right. Item 3.1, the St Arnaud Pre-Prep Modular Building Location. Could I please have the recommendation?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The recommendation is that Council 1 does not approve the construction of a building to accommodate kindergarten and pre-prep in St Arnaud within the car park at Market Square, and 2, locates the pre-prep modular building within a site that is suitable.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Happy to second that motion, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Emerson. I'll put that to the vote. Oh yes, sorry. Councillor Ostarovich, could you elaborate further on that?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We have had on the books now the opportunity to locate the pre-prep building into the car park. However, the flood study that was conducted and completed in July 2024 and subsequently remodelled as a consequence of work with North Central Catchment Management and the VSBA have highlighted that the constriction of the space within the car park would cause some minor localised flooding upstream of the car park and towards the town hall itself. Consequently, North Central Catchment Management have indicated that they would not support the placement of a pre-prep building in the car park because of the 1% AEP flooding circumstance. Council provided the flood study and provided the advice to North Central Catchment Management and the implications were discovered once further modelling was completed. Consequently, so the car park itself is no longer a viable proposition for the placement of a pre-prep because of this upstream localised flooding risk. The proposal to co-locate the pre-prep with the ELC in the parking area effectively now has to be abandoned because of this criteria. The Department of Education officers have been particularly sympathetic to Council's view that an integrated facility would be the best outcome for the community in St Arnaud and are supporting Council in that endeavour. So consequently, there's a lot more work to be done to try and locate the pre-prep and the ELC integrated facility that was subject to the previous motion 2 months ago, and to that end now, that motion takes precedence over future siting of the pre-prep. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Emerson.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. Not too much to add. I think Councillor Stasevich has covered most of the points. It is important, and it's a reasonable motion without being a perfect motion, and I support it in its entirety. One of the things that we should be aware of is that Council is doing their very best to make sure that we provide the modular buildings for the pre-prep kids who are waiting to get into our childcare system. And that's what we intend to do. No decision is being made today as to where the pre-prep modular might be situated. The decision for Council today, if they agree to this motion, is that it will not be going into Market Square, and then that will allow Council some time to work out, some diligent time to work out exactly where the best place for the modular building is to be erected. Of course, that will require considerable community consultation, and Council is assuring everybody in this motion that we will get the best outcome that we can get for the Sonata community and the pre-prep kids who are waiting to get into that service. Thank you, Mr Mayor, and I commend the motion also as Councillor Stasevich has done.
Thank you, Councillor. Do any other councillors wish to speak? That being so, I put the motion to Councillor Eddy, please, could you please sum up? Sorry.
Mr Mayor, I know that this is a challenge. You're going to have to get used to new protocols, just as I have over the past 3 years. So, well done. Look, the outcome of this exercise over the past since February this year, so for 9 months, has been that Council have been trying to participate with the Department of Education and VSBA to meet their policy and their schedule. So consequently, we've been trying to deliver a service to the community of St Arnaud based on someone else's timeframe. And so consequently, we've made decisions in the past, and we've made a decision recently, and now, if this motion gets up, with the best intent for our children, for our communities and their families. That's the key. We've always had a service provision which was centred around wraparound care, and the pre-prep or kinder, which we currently provide at 15 hours a week right now to 4-year-old and 3-year-olds. It will be expanded to accommodate the state government's policy of 30 hours for 4-year-old kinder to better secure a future for them, a better future for them. So consequently, we've looked at this from a wraparound model, so rather than just a pre-prep kinder facility. If it was that simple, the question would have been sorted a long time ago, but it is not that simple, and we've been forced to do that with someone else's timeframe in our ear all the time. We need to ensure, this motion will allow us to ensure that we figure out what the community requires, when it requires, and how we're going to deliver it. And thankfully, we have the Department of Education officers that are prepared to support us in that endeavour. So that's a good thing. We're not in conflict. The other thing that this motion does is it now puts a line under the pre-prep location in the car park. So consequently, one of the last conditions of the previous motion, which included investigating ways in which we were to provide protection for the car park and village green at St Arnaud, so that we protect those two assets for the community, is now engaged. And council officers will examine how and what vehicles, what tools in the box are available to ensure that condition's met. So onward and upward. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. We'll put that to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. There being no further business, I'll now declare the meeting closed at 12:40.